Hello, Sophia here with another tutorial. This video is going to show you how to draw a very basic fruit bowl using colored pencils. Materials you're going to need. So you're going to need your paper, an eraser, a pencil, your colored pencils, and a white gel pen is also great for highlights if you have one. And then I also have my reference photo in front of me. So I'm just going to show you a few colored pencil techniques. So this first one is just your standard coloring in, just try to make it nice and soft and even lines. This one is really great for shading, so it goes from darkest to lightest. So you're going to start with more pressure on one side and release the pressure as you come up. So you're just pressing lighter as you go on. This next one's called cross hatching. So you're just going to draw in one direction and then switch it and draw in the opposite direction. And then you can also go diagonal both ways. And the more times that you go over it, the darker the color will get. And then this next one, I'm just going to do a bunch of little circles. So I'm just continuously looping my pencil. And this is a really nice technique if you want kind of soft edges and a nice soft look. You can also do it lighter, so you just press lighter on your pencil to get even a softer look. It's good for clouds. This next one called stippling. So I'm just going to do a bunch of little dots or lines, and it forms a nice texture for grass or fur or something like that. In this one, I'm going to do a blend from one color to another color. So I'm going to start similar to the one above it for shading. So I'm going to start with a lot of pressure on one side and then release the pressure as I draw. So it's darker on one side and lighter on the other side. And then I'm going to take my second color and I'm going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. So I'm going to start with more pressure and make it darker on one side. And then as I meet the other color, release the pressure and go lighter so it blends into the other one, the other color. And then I'm just gonna go over these colors a couple times so it really blends together and gets a nice look of ombre. So again, just pressing harder on one side and then pressing lighter as you get to the other color. And then this last one is also cross hatching, but you're just going to do thin lines instead of filling it in completely. So it's kind of just a different look than the one above it. Those are some basic techniques. So to begin, I'm going to do a long oval about in the center of my page here. And this is going to be the top of your bowl. And then coming down, I'm going to do two little lines on each side and make them nice and even. And then I'm going to do a parallel line to form the rim of the bowl. And now I'm making the edges of the bowl. Try to make them as symmetrical as possible, so that means that they match on either side. Then I'm doing another line at the bottom that is parallel to the same curve at the top. And then I'm just gonna make some decorations on the bowl. You can do flowers or polka dots or lines or whatever you're feeling, but I decided to do like a checkered look. So to begin sketching out your fruit, I'm just gonna do some basic circle shapes where I want the fruit to lay. So this is gonna be an apple in the corner. And it doesn't have to be a perfect circle because fruit are not perfect circles. So I'm actually going to do like kind of a squiggly line at the top and add a stem. Then I'm going to do another like half circle. And I'm just going to keep adding some circles wherever I feel like I want the fruit. And then these are going to be grapes, so I'm just sketching out the kind of outline of the grapes hanging over the edge of the bowl. And again, I'm just keep adding circles and shapes of the fruit, just sketch out the basic outlines. And that's going to be a pear back there, so it's kind of more of a teardrop shape than a circle. And adding stems to all of them. I'm going to do some grapes hanging back on this behind the bowl. I'm going to add some bananas, so I'm doing kind of like a moon shape for the banana. So like 2 semicircles that meet at the corners. And then I'm going to do a line coming down the middle of the banana to symbolize the ridge. Make the top of the banana. I'm going to add a couple more bananas behind it. So I'm only going to see the ends of each banana. So I'm just going to do the tips. But you can add as many bananas as you want, or as few if you don't like bananas. Adding stems, and then once you're happy with the basic shapes of the fruit, then you can start to go in and add detail. So I'm doing the grapes now, and I'm just gonna be doing a bunch of oval shapes. And I'm gonna just kind of make them overlap and all connect together so that there's not a lot of empty space in between each grape. So it looks like a nice full vine. And make them all face different directions. You can make them all sorts of different sizes, but I like to keep it pretty consistent. And yeah, just keep making little ovals until you fill up as many grapes as you like. So now I'm going to just go over my lines one more time and add in little details into the fruit, like the little stems and lines and bumps and such. Make them look more organic. And just darken the outline so you can see it better. I decided to add some fruit at the bottom there just to make it more dynamic. So I'm just adding some cherries, but you can add in whatever kind of fruit you like, whatever your favorite is. And now I'm just going to take a ruler and add a line about halfway through my bowl, just so it looks like it's sitting on a counter and not floating in space. And that's called a horizon line, even though it's not technically a horizon, it's just a counter. And I didn't really like the checkered, so I erased it, and I decided just to do lines instead. So if you don't like it, you can always go back and change it. So then I'm just going to go over all my line work with a Micron pen. I'm using 0.03, but you can use whatever thickness you want, just to get some nice crisp lines. And I'm adding some more little details in it, like some dots on the oranges and tangerines and such. And then don't forget to erase your pencil marks from under your line work, but make sure that the pen work is dried first so that it doesn't smear. So now for the colored pencil part. So I'm going to start with the bananas. I'm just going to lay down a nice base shade of yellow, kind of evenly coat it at first. Then I'm going to add some darker areas, so I'm just pressing harder on the yellow along the ridges just to give it some dimension. And I'm going to take kind of a yellowish brownish color and then go over some areas and give it some nice texture and some more shadows. And then I'm going to take an even darker brown and fill in the tops there. And then I'm going to fade that brown into the bananas a little bit. So I'm pressing harder at the tops and then releasing some pressure as I go. And I'm going to add some more shadow, so along the ridge. I'm just adding some brown spots. And then I'm going to also make the tips a little browner too. So again, more pressure, hold it down firmer on the ends, and then release some pressure as you get into the banana. Then I'm going to also add some green highlights just along the tops of each banana, because they often have some green in them too. So next I'm going to do the pear. So I'm going to start with a base color of green, and I'm going to do it darker around the edges and then kind of fade it in so it's lighter in the center. And I'm leaving a spot of white for a highlight. Then I'm using the same like yellowish brownish color and going over it and then doing a dark brown for the stem. And remember to leave that highlight in the middle. And now for the apple, got a red color, and again I'm doing the same thing, so I'm doing it darker around the edges and then kind of releasing the pressure as I get into the center and leaving a highlight. So I'm not coloring in part of the apple to leave that white space. And this just makes them look nice and round and three-dimensional. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other apple. The other apple I'm going to make kind of more of a green apple. So again, starting around the edges, going lighter as I go in the center, and leaving a white space. And then doing brown for the stem. I'm going to also add some yellow in there because there's a lot of different tones in fruit. I'm going to also add some really light streaks of red. I'm going over the red apple with some yellow, just adding some more different tones in there. And now for the tangerines, taking an orange color, starting around the edges, leaving that white space. I'm going to do the same on the orange on the other side. Going over them with some yellow, just again to give it some different tones. Fruit has a lot of different colors in there. They're usually not just one shade. Then I'm going to fill in my cherries at the bottom and my tangerines as well. And just keep doing that same technique of starting around the edges and making it darker, along the edge and then releasing the pressure as you get into the center and leaving a white space for a highlight. And that'll make your fruit look not so flat. I'm going to take a light gray color and I'm going to fill in all the negative space of where the fruit doesn't fill up, so that it looks like they're really sitting in the bowl. So now for the grapes, I'm actually going to use 2 different colors of purpley pink because I don't really have the exact right shade that I want them to be. And I kind of want to vary each grape color. So I'm going to start with a more pinky purple and just do a couple grapes here and there. Again, using the same technique, so it's darker around the edges, leaving a white spot and lighter in the center. And I'm going to go over it in my second purple color. I'm going to do all the ones that I haven't filled in yet. And I'm probably going to go over them a few times to kind of blend the colors together. So now I'm going to go over it again with the second color and really get some nice dimension in there and some different tones. Okay, in the bowl I chose kind of a sky blue. So I'm going to start on the edge and work my way into the center. And again, I'm making it lighter as I go into the center. So I'm putting more pressure, I'm pressing down harder around the edges, and I'm going lighter into the center. So the bowl looks nice and round. Darker blue for the rim and the bottom, and you can really just decorate your bowl however you want, whatever colors you want. You have total artistic freedom. finishing touch is I'm going to take that light gray color again, and I'm going to go over the counter really, really lightly. And you can do a tan or whatever color you want for your counter. And this just kind of fills in the space so that it looks like the bowl is grounded and sitting on something. It's going to kind of fade out the edges so it doesn't go all the way to the edge of the paper. I just like that effect. Again, it's up to you. Then I'm going to make it darker right underneath the bowl and give it kind of a shadow. Then I'm also going to give a shadow underneath the fruit that's sitting on the counter directly. And these are just some nice finishing touches. And there's your lovely fruit bowl. It was a lot of fun to draw, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Please like and subscribe for more videos. See you next time.